Hey y'all, it's your girl Breeze, and you know I love to run my mouth. So today I want to come and talk to y'all about Wendy Williams. Um, if you don't know, I feel like you may have been living under a rock. But if you don't, Wendy Williams, the one and the only, one of the most influential hot topic discussers or hot topic connoisseurs. Hot topic. She's actually the reason for hot topics. Let's be real. She has recently been in basically a fight for her life. She is currently under a legal conservatorship where she has a guardian who is in charge of everything, basically. And they are saying that Wendy is incapacitated. She doesn't remember things. She doesn't know things. Now, if you did not watch the Wendy Williams show and do not know what had been going on with her related to her health, Wendy at one point was basically fell off the wagon because she in her life was clean. She used to do, she was open about the fact that she did drugs, mainly cocaine, and that was something that she had to stop doing, but it was definitely a vice for her and something that she enjoyed doing, I should say. And it became a little bit much for her, and you have to stop indulging in certain things. Well, towards the end of her show, she went through a very public divorce, very embarrassing situation. Husband had another woman, got the other woman pregnant, had the other woman living down the street from Wendy. Just a whole bunch of mess. At that point, she had, I want to say gout. It's not gout. She had lymphedema and her legs were really swelling, and she used to have to be on a machine to help, reduce the fluid in her legs and the swelling in her legs and all of that. So a lot was going on with her, and I think that's when she fell off the wagon, started drinking, started doing drugs, and it was downhill from there. And at some point, she had gotten back into the alcohol and drugs so that she had to go live in a sober house while she was filming the Wendy Williams show, which was so wild to me at that time when it was happening. Like, it was kind of sad to sit and watch someone who I really enjoyed the Wendy Williams show. So it was, for me, very sad to sit and watch her basically watch her downfall, or, watch her spirit diminish, watch her just it was hard. That was hard to watch, but she went through that, and then she was kind of quiet. We were actually looking for her to come back in some capacity, and then something just boom happened. It seemed like that's what it felt like, and we found out that Wells Fargo put a freeze on her money because there was some spending that happened. Later on, you find out that it was her son who was just abusing the power of having access to all of that money, and that put a red flag up. Wells Fargo put her into a conservatorship or had assisted in putting her into a conservatorship because they felt like she was being financially abused, which she was, not just by her son, but I think she was also being financially abused by people that were in her life, because when we saw her in that Lifetime documentary, which truly broke my heart. Whatever the last one. Wendy's had a couple of Lifetime specials, but that last one where they showed them finding bottles behind the toilet, and she was going around in circles to go to the vape store. She was telling her assistant, this isn't the right store, and this isn't like, this is the store we always come to. And she was like, drive around again. It's near the Wendy Williams show. So you could see where she had just become a shell of herself. And it was very sad to watch that documentary. I actually shed a tear watching it because I wholeheartedly am a Wendy fan. And I just was like, man, that's messed up. This lady done lost her marriage, lost her show, lost her sobriety. And now it's just like, in essence, it was looking like she was losing her mind. Or at least the fight to keep it, I would say. Um, so fast forward to now. There's a Free Wendy campaign going on, and it is because she's in a restrictive conservatorship where everything you do, everything you say has to be run through this guardian who, from everything that I've been seeing in all of the interviews and in the reports, the lady is a hot mess. And I feel like this lady has now gotten hold to Wendy's money and has access to it and does not want to let that power go. And I'm not sure why. Because I feel like if you're someone's guardian, you've been appointed to them through a conservatorship. If you're saying that this person is not mentally there, this person is incapacitated, they don't have these abilities, they can't remember, all of these things. But then when we see this person, they look fine. When you talk to that person and have a conversation with that person, I will say that I've listened to interviews, several of the interviews that they've done and calls they've done on the Breakfast Club with her TMZ interview she did with Harry Levin. Is that his name? Henry Levin? Whatever. The Levin guy from TMZ. She talks to Charlemagne regularly. Her and Lauren from the Breakfast Club became, cordial in terms of having discussions and talking regularly. You could tell that she's able to have a conversation. She knows who she is. She knows she's Wendy Williams. She knows what she's done, like the history of her career and all of that. You can tell that she knows, but you can also tell that probably that alcohol and drug abuse here later on in her life has had an effect on her where she has some type of delay, but she's not at all in a space where somebody should be. One, she's in what they're calling a luxury jail. She's in this facility for people who are in conservatorships or, basically like nursing home kind of. And she's on a memory floor. So everything is locked down. She can't go when she wants to. She has to be let out. She said that there is a gym in the building that she goes and works out, but she has to be physically let out of her room, physically let out of the floor to be able to go to the gym. So there's a lot of restriction, a lot of control, and I understand her whole point. Like, baby, I am not incapacitated. I am very well aware of what's going on. I see how y'all are trying to use me. I see the plot you spinning, and I'm not with it. So she has this young lady. The young lady's name is Gina. I'll put on the screen what her title is, but basically she is an elder advocate. She's the president of this particular company. I'll put the name of the company. They called it out several times in the Breakfast Club interview. But she's with Wendy. Her job, her mission is to help people who are a part of elder abuse. Somebody that's either being abused financially from an elder perspective or being abused in this case by a conservator who has the control over you, not allowing you to do the things you need to do. So here recently, they called the police, and this is what the lady advised Wendy to do. They called the police and advised that she needed to go to the hospital. And the police did eventually come, and they escorted Wendy out of the building and took her to the hospital. She was admitted to the hospital where she did get an independent test that what they would do for someone to see whether or not that person did have their full capacity, was within their, right mind, basically. She got a 10 out of 10. And so she's now fighting, and she's been fighting to get free and to have less restriction. I feel like Wendy does not need a full conservatorship. I feel like her niece, Alex, who was the one who, I feel like that's what was expressed in one of the Breakfast Club interviews, like her niece wants to be the one that's kind of like running it. But anyway, they could find somebody in their family who could run it. The courts could monitor what the family is doing. Like, you got to report in. Like, they do not have to restrict that lady the way they're restricting her. And it makes me sick that the lady's name is Sabrina, because that's, my name. And I'm like, girl, you out here giving a bad name to Sabrina's, hemming up Wendy Williams like that. Loose her, baby. Loose her. But yeah, it's so sad to see. And I really want to know, when they get to the bottom of it, what was old girl's thing? Because why are you trying to hold Wendy hostage? Let that lady go out and shop and buy her waters and go to dinner. I just saw something that said they are trying to accuse her niece of kidnapping her because her niece took her to dinner. It's like, you don't even want the lady to be around her family. That is a red flag. That says to me, something is wrong with you. If you are her guardian, she's in a conservatorship, and her niece wants to take her to lunch or dinner, what is the problem? She wants to go to her father just turned, I think, 92 or 94, something like that. She wanted to go to Miami to visit him because she's in New York. And it was a possibility that she wasn't going to be able to go. Like, the guardian was threatening her that you won't be able to go celebrate your dad's birthday if you don't basically play right, if you don't act good, if you have these missteps. So I really need them to get that lady out of there. I love how every time I listen to The Breakfast Club, Wendy always says that guardian, the guardian lady, the guardian lady. And Charlamagne makes a point to call her name, Sabrina, whatever her last name is. It's really sad. And I just had wanted to talk about it because I love Wendy Williams. From the time, I've been a fan of Wendy Williams before I even heard her on any TV or anything. I remember her having a TV show on, I believe it was on VH. It was either VH1 or MTV. And it was her and Charlamagne. And it was basically them doing the radio, but what The Breakfast Club is now, them doing their radio show on TV. So that lets you know the insight that Wendy had into it. Wendy got fired from jobs for telling people business back in the day on the radio, telling Diddy's business. If you watched any of her, either her talk show or any of her documentaries, Total came to the studio to want to fight her because she was on there running her mouth. Like I said, Diddy actually got her fired from one of her radio jobs because she told his business. And so to know her for this many years and just kind of see the decline that's happening in her life is a sad thing. But I really do hope they get it all figured out. I hope some charges are brought against that guardian. Something has to be illegal about what she's doing. She could very well be operating within her full guardian allowed, rules and stuff, but it just feels wrong and it feels illegal. So I hope it's some charges that's brought up against her. But y'all tell me what y'all think about this whole Wendy conservatorship debacle. Did you watch Wendy Williams? You know about her? And if it was your mother, aunt, cousin, how would you be feeling if that person, was a vibrant personality, was that girl in whatever way, and is now a shell of themselves and now in a conservatorship and basically being held hostage by it? Let me know what y'all think. Thank y'all for coming again while I run my mouth. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, you comment, you share, and be sure to come back because y'all know I'm going to run my mouth again.